Hello, my name is Bailey, and I own an ambulance that I'm currently converting into a camper van. We are currently inside of the ambulance, and I just wanted to make a little video telling you guys some more things about myself, and also about ideal future trips that I would like to take in the ambulance. I forgot to add that then, so I'm adding it now. And I also post a video every Thursday, and I post a blog post every Monday and Thursday. So if you'd like to check that out, you can go to vitalvan.net. A bit about me. I originally wanted to live in a camper van about 7 or 8 years ago for a few reasons. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life originally. I didn't really want to go to college. I didn't really want to have a career in anything. So there were about three reasons why I wanted to live in a van. One of them being I didn't know where I wanted to settle down and live for the rest of my life. I hadn't really been to many states, maybe about 10, and even then it was just a one little part of it, so I didn't really know what any of the states were like. So that was originally an idea in my head because me and my mom went to Oklahoma once and it was super green and super nice, and then we drove through Arizona and that there were woods and there was snow and it was super cold and I had no idea that any part of Arizona was like that. So that just made me realize that I really don't know anything about any kind of state. So I wanted to go and travel and see all of them before I chose one to settle down in eventually. The second reason is that I really love music festivals. I really feel at home at music festivals. They're one of my favorite things to go and do. I love listening to music. I love all of that. I love the community there. And I knew that traveling all the time for music festivals would get really expensive really quickly because it's, plane tickets and hotel and also eating and also you have to buy tickets to the festival too. So
Thanks.
I figured living in a van might make that a little easier financially. And the third reason is that I don't really want to work for anyone else as my boss ever again. I want to be my own boss and make my own money by making these videos and making my blog posts and just other things like that that also have to do with living on the road. I wanted to travel and see all of the states. I didn't want to work for anyone else ever again, and I really love going to music festivals. And all of three of these ideas kind of culminated into the idea that I think this is the best idea for me right now at this point in my life was to live in a van, and then I could travel everywhere. It would be cheaper than renting somewhere and then traveling a whole bunch for festivals, and I could make these videos and hopefully one day make a living off of those so I wouldn't have to have another person as my boss, which I really don't want. I also want to tell you guys a couple more things about me. I did end up going to college, even though I didn't really want to at all. So I have two associate's degrees. I have one in business and one in diesel mechanics. I originally went to diesel mechanics school because I bought the ambulance and I was like, it's diesel. I would really like to learn how to work on it and not get scammed by anyone. So I went to diesel school. I completed that. And now we're just working on the ambulance. Some other things about me, obviously, I really love music. I like most kinds of music, but my favorite kinds of music are like pop punk, unfortunately, and and rock and roll and metal music and almost anything that I can sing along to that's upbeat. I really love hiking and biking and seeing everything that nature has to offer and going swimming and also, I enjoy surfing, but we don't really have a beach here, so I haven't been surfing in several years. But I love everything that has to do with the outdoors. I also love everything that has to do with art. I love painting and writing and drawing and all of that. I don't really. It's not very easy to find the time for that these days, but I do really love doing all those things. I also love reading and watching people play games on YouTube. Those are my main hobbies, and yeah, that's pretty much all the main things that you guys need to know about me. So, ideal future trips. I've been thinking a lot about the trips that I want to first take in the ambulance, and while there is no definite favorite or first trip that I want to take, there are some that I've been thinking about a lot that I do think I'll take eventually. I wanted to share a few ideas that I had. So I went on Google and I took a few screenshots of America and the like and drew over it the route I would like to take on specific road trips. So those will be in this video. Of course, those aren't the exact routes that we'll probably be taking on the road trip, but they are ideal, the ones that I would like to take. The first trip that I would like to take is a national park trip all across the lower 48 of the United States. I would love to include the Alaskan national parks, but I will get to that part later. This trip would encompass the entirety of all of the national parks. There are about 55, and so this would take a long time. If I just wanted to spend about a week in each park, that would take over a year. So that would be that would be a lot of time. But I do think I want to spend at least several months doing this because I would really like to see all of the parks. I have been to Zion National Park and Yosemite National Park. I went to Zion with my parents a few years ago, and it was really beautiful. There were mountains of the height that I have never seen before, and the wildlife, and there was streams, and it was all just really beautiful, and I would love to go back. I also visited Yosemite with my parents, and we went right after there was a really big snowstorm, and so everything was covered in snow, about 1.5 feet, and it was also really, really beautiful. And some of the waterfalls were going, and it was really nice. And even though it was cold, I felt prepared for it. So these definitely make me want to go visit all the other national parks, since they'll probably be comparable, obviously, to the beauty of Zion and Yosemite. So I would love to take a trip where I go and visit all of them. The second trip that I would love to take is an Alaska trip. About half of this trip would be getting to Alaska, since you have to go from Nevada through all of the states up and then through Canada as well, and then you're in Alaska. So it's a pretty long trip. It's about 60 hours of driving just to get to Anchorage from Las Vegas. So that's pretty long. I would probably split that up into 7 days of driving, but also explore in between those days. So that going up there would probably take about a month, which is pretty long just to travel somewhere. But then once we're in Alaska, I would love to go to Anchorage and Nome and Fairbanks and maybe Ketchikan, but I don't really want to bring the ambulance because a ferry is super expensive, like hundreds of dollars. And maybe we would just fly to Ketchikan because I've always wanted to go to Ketchikan. And also to Homer. I would love to go to all these places. I've seen the pictures, and it's just so beautiful. I've always wanted to go to Alaska, and it's just so beautiful, and I've never been, and I just really want to go. So I'd probably spend a few months there at least. So this whole trip would take about 6 months in total. Another thing about Alaska is that there are 8 national parks there, and I would absolutely love to go visit all of those. This could possibly be a continuation of the national park trip, but I might want to be home for that. But also the ambulance is going to be my home, so who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I would also love to go fishing in Alaska. I would love to go hiking in Alaska. I would love to visit all of the Aleutian Islands. There's just so many things in Alaska that I would love to do. There's also tons of small towns I would love to visit. I love exploring small towns and things like that. So I think this trip would be really amazing, and I would love to spend a few months in Alaska at least doing that. I also would like to maybe live in Alaska eventually for a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, between 3 months and a year eventually, but that won't be for a while. So the third trip that I would like to take is a West Coast road trip, from all the way from San Diego all the way up to the tippy top of Washington, near Seattle, but not really Seattle. I haven't been to Washington or Oregon before, and I've only been up to Sacramento in California. That's the northernmost point I've been to. And even then, when we were in Sacramento, it was only for a music festival, so we weren't able to explore a whole lot. And also, Sacramento's not really on the coast, so that wouldn't even really be part of this trip, but it could be. These aren't really set in stone, obviously. I also know that the Pacific Coast Highway in California is really beautiful. I've driven on it a couple times, but only in Southern California. There's also a whole bunch of places along the coast, I know, like campgrounds and stuff to sleep at. So there would be lots of places to park the ambulance that would be right on the ocean, and I think that would be really nice as well. This would also be a great opportunity for me to visit the ocean again, since it's the coast, because I do live in the desert, and so I don't get to see the ocean very often. But I do love the ocean. And I want to go surfing again, and I love tide pools, and I love lighthouses, and there's just a lot of things about the ocean that I love that I would be able to do if I took a coast road trip. I also love exploring little towns, of which the coast has many. Little coastal towns, I would love to see all of them and meet people from them, and I just think that'd be a really amazing opportunity to explore all of that on the coast. The fourth and final road trip that I want to talk about is an East Coast road trip. I don't know a whole lot about the East Coast. I haven't been there in several years. I did go to New York once for a school trip, and I have been to Boston and Boca Raton in Florida with family before, but that was also, again, several years ago, and I don't remember most of it. And I was also too young to appreciate the landmarks or the monuments and the scenery, so I would love to go again just to see what it has to offer. I don't really know much about the East Coast since I haven't been there in so long and I haven't done much research, but that just makes me more excited for the trip. But that also means I don't have much else to say to you guys about it. So yeah, those are 4 of the most ideal trips that I would like to take in the next few years in the ambulance, including the national park trip, the Alaska trip, the West Coast, and the East Coast trip.
The end.
Thank you for watching!